Okay, welcome to our broadcast tonight, everybody. So, as we do every year, around the latter part of July, first part of August, we get really heavy into the retail drop shipping with back to school type products. And I'm not usually discussing much about some of the lower end items. I think sometimes when we think about back to school, we think about binders and pens and crayons and paper and some of the things that maybe younger kids would get that's plastered all over the place at Walmart or Target or whatever. I'm not talking as much about that. I'm talking more about the opportunity involved selling higher margin items to college kids who are going to be spending a little bit of money going off to college. But as we do with a lot of our training, not just through our experience, but through a lot of numbers, we look at what's hot, what's supposed to sell well. And one of the places we look that does a pretty good survey every year on this is the National Retail Federation. So I've got an article here. This was dated just a couple of weeks ago on the 13th. And they've got some interesting infographics and some stuff that really should guide and direct your selling this time of year. This is kind of an exciting time of year for internet retailers like us because we've got back to school, and then we've got Halloween right after that, and then you're knee deep in the Christmas holiday selling. So this is the best time of year to be selling, but you want to have it directed and focused based on what is moving, and what's not. So let me read a little bit of this to you, and then we're going to talk about it. This so they actually do a survey every year, and they survey a number of shoppers who are going to be shopping back to school to get a feel for what they're buying and how much they're buying. Here it says, with consumer confidence rising and more young people in school, back to college spending is expected to hit an all-time high this year, while back to school spending is expected to see its second highest spending level on record, according to the National Retail Federation's annual survey conducted by Prosper Insights and Analytics. Total spending for school and college combined is projected to reach $83.6 billion, a more than 10% increase from last year's $75.8 billion. And they've got some graphs here that'll back that up. It says families are now in a state of mind where they feel a lot more confident about the economy, so on and so forth. With stronger employment levels and a continued increase in wages, consumers are spending more, and we are optimistic that they will continue to do so throughout the rest of the year. As students head back to the classroom, retailers are prepared to meet their needs, whether it's for pencils, papers, shirts, pants, or laptops and tablets. Okay, so look at this graph for me real quick, and you guys will kind of get an idea of total spending. It's actually been climbing. I mean, it's been climbing for a lot of years, and you can see clear back in 2007, it was 18.4 billion, and now we're at nearly 30 billion projected for 2017. We did the same training last year, and it's certainly been moving in the right direction since about 2015. So it's a good time of year to be selling this type of stuff because there's a ton of spending, and more of it's happening online than ever before. Let me get to the interesting stuff that should direct you guys a little bit. So they break it down into a couple of categories. There's back to school, which would be like your high school and younger, and then there's back to college. Back to school shoppers plan to spend 10.2 billion on clothing, 8.8 billion on electronics. So I would keep these categories in your mind or even write these down. So clothing is going to be a category. Electronics is going to be a category, specifically computers and calculators. That's for the younger kids. There's a lot of shoe spending, 5.6 billion on shoes, 4.9 billion on school supplies and notebooks, and that kind of the supplies, the notebooks, the folders, the pencils, that kind of stuff. We're not going to make money on drop shipping. You'd have to be carrying your own inventory, and even so, I mean, good luck trying to get rich selling pencils and pens, right? There's just not enough money in those. So I don't usually pay as much attention to those, although people buy it. But you know where people buy it. Most of them are buying it at local stores. The parents say they will spend on average $238 on clothing, $204 on electronics, $130 on shoes, and $114 on school supplies. This was interesting. For the first time, the survey asked consumers what types of electronics they plan to purchase. So keep this in mind, guys. Among electronic shoppers, 45% say they would be buying a laptop computer, while more than a third plan to purchase a tablet or a calculator. So that's big. 1 in 4 plan to purchase electronic accessories such as a mouse, flash drive, or charger. Technology is, I mean, if you guys haven't noticed, and certainly we've got teachers that are in our coaching program, you guys can probably attest to this. Technology is driving education more than it ever has before, and therefore students are preparing appropriately with laptops and tablets, and so that could be a good spot, assuming you can find a good supplier for it. I'm always a little apprehensive about having you guys sell a lot of electronics on eBay because it attracts scammers. It's tough unless you've got a decent price. But if you can find a good wholesale supplier or retail supplier who's having good markdowns and you're getting good prices, you could mark those up and certainly make sales on eBay. But you almost have to find stuff at sale prices and then really watch them like a hawk to take advantage of that. Let's see if there's anything extra here that I wanted to point out. Not there. Okay, so this right here is what I wanted to show you because this is the market we try to capitalize on most. This is called planned back-to-college spending in billions. And you can see projected 2017 is bigger than it's ever been before at 54 billion. So, and that's even more than what we had last year, and last year was a good year. So college spending, this is where I really wanted to spend our time for a few minutes. It says college students and their families plan to spend an average of $969.88, up from last year's $888. So there's an increase there. Some of that is due just to college enrollment increasing. It says the survey found college consumers plan to spend, and this is what I want you to make notes of, $12.8 billion on electronics, $8 billion in clothing, $7.5 billion on snacks or other food items. That's going to be hard for you to compete in, so I wouldn't worry about that. This one is the one I love right here. $5.9 billion on dorm apartment furnishings. What are we talking about here? I know that doesn't sound like a lot as compared to electronics, because electronics is $12.8 billion. $5.9 billion is still a really, really, really big number. What are we talking about if we're talking dorm or apartment furnishings? Now keep in mind, these are college kids, so I don't think they're going to be spending, $1,500 on a nice love seat or couch, right? When's the last time one of you guys have been into like a college apartment or a dorm room? The type of furniture you see is usually a little on the cheaper side, right? A desk for a room. Bernice, that's great. Beanbag chairs, right? IKEA type furniture. Nice looking furniture that's a little more on the cheap side. Bedding might be one. Certainly appliances, kitchen appliances. As you go on, they certainly like shoes. There's personal care items, which there's not much money in for us. School supplies, not so much. Gift cards, we can't compete there. This is interesting too. $3.2 billion in branded collegiate gear. So that would be like wearing a big University of Oregon sweatshirt, right? Or University of Florida shirt or shorts or socks or whatever. Branded collegiate gear. And then the average person spends over $100 on dorm and apartment furnishings, which means some people could spend $600 and some people could spend $15, but it averages around $100. The reason I'm telling you guys this, I know it sounds like we're just throwing out a lot of numbers and stuff, but I'm telling you right now, since, and we'll look at a graph to show you this, but since early July, people have been spending money on this kind of stuff. And then you might ask, well, why are we talking about it now? Well, we usually wait to see the numbers and then talk about it, but it's not a surprise. there's certainly money being spent, especially in the back to college space. Let me bring up, see if I can find it here. Yes, this is the slide I wanted to show you guys. Look at this right here. It says more back to school and college shoppers are starting early. Okay, so keep this in mind for next year, but there's still plenty of opportunity this year. I want you to look at the blue graph, the blue bar graph over here. 2016 is in gray, 2017 is in blue, and this shows you when people are going to be spending money on back to college. Okay, so right here, let me grab my pen so you know what I'm talking about right here. Starting right here, okay, they're saying almost 32% of people start at least 2 months before school starts. Okay, so you have a lot of people that have already started. School starts at different times at different places, right? But likely we're between 2 and 3 weeks out, 4 weeks maybe some places. So if you look here, about 35% starts 3 weeks out, 20% 1 to 2 weeks out, 7% 1 week out, and then 6% after school starts. So we've still got, what's that, 50, 55, 56, 60, like we still have close to 70% that are still in this section right here that haven't started their shopping or are going to be starting their shopping like this week. So you still have a lot of the market still to go, which means you can still prepare now, get listings up, and take advantage of it. You may not get as many of these early birds right here, but keep that in mind for next year. You know, that could be one of your goals for 2018. And, you know, a lot of times you want to be looking at suppliers sooner than this and testing products, but, you know, we figure better late than never and thought we would talk about it anyway, okay? So those are kind of the time periods for when shopping is going to happen, and it definitely fits the bill online. Okay, this is an interesting stat. Where consumers are going to spend money. Almost half of people are going to be shopping online, so that's a good number. Let's see. Oh, this is also important. What back-to-school shoppers plan to take advantage of? Look at what's number one up here. Almost 91% say free shipping is going to be something they look at. So that's why when we tell you on eBay, even if shipping costs $6, you don't charge $6. Rather, you take that $6 and you build it into the price and you call it free shipping, because people look specifically for that. There's some sort of psychology behind the idea people don't like to pay for shipping, even though we all know it's somehow built into the price. It still matters to people. So they're going to be looking for that free shipping. So make sure all of your listings follow that format as well. See if there's anything else I wanted to point out on those graphs. No, not really. We could look at more numbers, but I think you guys have seen enough. So let me just tell you, ever since we've been looking at these numbers, they keep going up. And the projections are for the best year ever for college and for another good year for just the regular back to school. So what do you do now? Well, don't say I'm late and I missed it, because you didn't. You can take advantage of it now by going out there and listing a variety of these kind of products. I gave you categories for what you can do. It is still a numbers game. You still got to have a lot of things listed to find good sellers, but I know our clients right now are making a lot of sales. And though I'm not going to share specifically what some of our clients are selling, I can tell you they certainly fit into these categories. And then remember, just shortly thereafter, the college selling season, which may end somewhere in mid-September or so. That's the time you get ready for Halloween, and then shortly thereafter it's Christmas. So you guys really, more so than ever, need to make sure you're maximizing your limits right now. Your stores are chock full, because believe me, every single year when a client sells during this time of year and they're selling more than ever before, they're glad they did it. and they want to prepare even more for the following year because they see the potential. So good time to be selling, guys. I wish you the best over the next few months as you work on this. Just a little heads up, I am going to be gone the next 2 weeks. We're out on kind of our long family vacation, so I won't be having or hosting this webinar on the next 2 Tuesdays. We'll get back to that hopefully on August 22nd, and we'll hopefully see all of you guys then. Okay. Thanks for being around here, guys. We will see you all next time.